I am going to be connecting in and delivering a little bit more about how our ancestors in ancient times have been able to connect to how they've been able to use water in the past as a sense of bringing in wholeness. And what I have come to find and what I feel like is important for us to really be addressed and to experience too is that all of these elements are part of who we are. And so the water that we draw upon really is connected into our blood. It's connected into the water, this blood source energy around us that makes up a huge aspect of who we are. And on top of that, water is also very connected, as we know, to our emotions. And you might hear people say, "Oh, that person's too watery," or they've got too much they have too many emotions. And I feel like this is such a huge aspect of who we are. And bringing that into light is our emotions are kind of like this magic sauce to life. They make being human possible. It helps us to experience the highs and the lows and the ups and the downs, but it also helps us to really incorporate and be present and be human in this physical journey. And so I think us just being aware of how that water can affect us and be in our space is truly powerful and so empowering. Um, and I wanted to just connect into our ancestors, those who have come before, those who have walked the path before, who used water in their healing centers and in their sources to be here. And a lot of times, too, like we're so lucky that we have running water. We have a tub, we can go to a pool, we can take a shower, but that's not what everyone's experience is. And so I think also, being mindful and being aware of that is also something that we'll draw upon with our ancestors. So I'm just going to take a moment to channel in, and for those who weren't here last time, I'm just going to bring some messages across from our ancestors collectively, and then we'll also do a journey incorporating water in our space as our meditation as we meet with our ancestors. We will be connecting into water and being in water with our ancestors. So it will be really beautiful. So I'm just going to take a moment here to just center and to bring in these messages. It's interesting because as I'm sitting here, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing like this collection of all of us who are here. There's like a reason why this is like this specific group today, but it also feels like I'm being really drawn into the mom, like, so our mother's lineage and the female, so mom's mom, like that line of women. I'm really feeling drawn into this space because I also my throat is like kind of getting blocked, but it feels like that there's this, like, in the blueprint of our ancestors who are here right now and those who will listen, is it just feels like there could be this energetic suppression of unhealthy emotion, or feeling like there's just this I just feel like there's this fear consciousness that's been brought down from generations about how having emotion is unhealthy, how it is unstable, and it also feels like this sense of like, "Oh, we're crazy if we have emotion," or we can't really be here if we have emotion," and it feels like there's just this block or this energy of suppression, and it feels like a lot of it is connected to the mom's mom side of the family for for those who are listening, and I don't know, it just feels like it's time for us to really step into that space of healing and of clearing and being aware that it can be easy for us to feel like we have to shut down, or that we can't share our emotions, or that we can't speak our truth. And a lot of times when we may have a lot of emotion come to us, it's harder for us to speak or to share or to trust what's coming in. And it can be looked at as a sign of weakness. And I just see like these ancestors like shaking their hands and being like, no more. Like, this is the time to embrace our voices, embrace the sense of emotion, and know that like there's this disconnect between feeling things and speaking. And it's like they want to help us bridge that space, like have that that wall of connection, that wall of water to help bridge the two. I'm like seeing these two canals, and then I see the water coming in between both, and just saying that it is free and it is okay to, and it is like holy. It's part of being human to experience emotion and to not shy away from that, but also expressing our emotion or expressing things that we need help with or our concerns is also a part of like feeling it internally. Is kind of like this spiritual aspect, but like really embracing it and speaking it out loud is kind of bridging the physical and the spiritual together, which of course is what we are here to experience as both physical and spiritual. And it just truly feels like there's this understanding and this beautiful space of like true integration in that space. And so I just feel like as I'm leaning into that, that's the first thing they want to bring in is how important that it is that we do embrace our water element and knowing that our emotions are not unholy. But it's also good because sometimes if we open up to the space of emotion, they're saying like all of a sudden it's like the floodgates come in and we can't stop emotion or we can't stop crying or we can't stop feeling. And so I also feel as though they're saying the importance of having an outlet of being able to release those emotions. So whether it be standing in the shower and thinking of like all of the things that are holding us back or maybe feeling things and then be like, okay, after the shower, like I'm going to feel sorry for myself and feel this emotion for this shower time, and then once I step out, like I'm going to give myself space to like regroup and to be in the space of understanding and to not feel so heavy or feel so stuck. But once again, it's not bad or wrong to feel that. And I just see them saying that such a holy aspect. And there's so many women who have felt that sense of closure, like that sense of I can't speak my mind, I can't be too emotional, I can't share myself. Emotions are bad, or if someone's going through grief or if someone's going through trauma, it's easy for us to block it down. And they say that such a beautiful power and element is water because water is going to help us to heal. And then they're showing me how in ancient times they would sit by the rivers on the rocks and put their feet in the water and maybe like place like water or like cool water on their body or on their neck or just to bring the sense of meditation. And I see them like watching the water, like the water on the rocks just like flow over it and to be present in that space and it helping heal their emotions. And I know all of us have said in one way or another it's helped clear our mind to bring us into this state of presence, which is exactly what like what our emotions are supposed to do. And our emotions can help us embrace and be here more fully. And I don't know about you, but it's also like when we give ourselves permission to cry, it's something that it's so easy to like want to hold back that sense of crying because it's like, oh, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel the sadness because it's so deep. But at times, we have to be able to go that deep to feel that full immersion of emotion that's going to help us feel more human. And it's easy when we know, okay, maybe I'm feeling disconnected from life, or I'm not emotionally charged, or I'm just not feeling as connected to those around me. And then maybe all of a sudden we watch a movie and we're just like sobbing. It's like, oh, this was such a good movie. But then it like brings this revitality of life. And, or maybe you're listening to a song or have a conversation that really pulls on your heartstring. And all of a sudden you feel this embrace of emotion. But a lot of times it feels this embrace of humanity, of being human. And if we can remember, they're saying that, like, yes, we have our ancestors who are here to help us and to guide us. And there are just some things that they cannot take away. They cannot push us to experience things. Some things have to be our own choice. And experiencing emotion is something that they encourage us to embrace and encourage us to embrace the water of life. But at the same time, they're like saying like we would love for you to do this, like there's so much growth and there's so much healing ancestrally that can also take place. However, if we stray away from it, it can disconnect us from feeling present. And so they're just saying, like, we can only share so much and try to help bring in this space. But it's like our choice to say, okay, I want to embrace water. And this even comes to the aspect of what they're saying is like, even before I have sessions and I know they're going to be extremely emotional, I will naturally add a bunch of water element into my life. So I'll have like 3 diffusers going some mornings, where sometimes I'll light a candle, sometimes it will be adding diffusers or water or a bunch of essential oils on my body, and then I'll realize in the session, like, "Oh, there's so much emotion here." Of course, water wanted to be present to help subsidize or to help bring in this healing. And so they're also saying that when we are feeling extra emotional or we are feeling disconnected or as though something is wrong, how can we incorporate water into our space? Just like them walking and sitting by the water, sitting by the river, or immersing themselves in the lakes to bring that sense of vitality or rebirth, regrowth, rejuvenation. We can do the same thing here. And so if we are feeling extra emotional, it's putting on essential oils or it's drinking more water or embracing ourselves and going to the pool or going to the water, going to the lakes to give ourselves space to feel that emotion and then allow it to be released in a beautiful holy way instead of making it wrong. I just feel like collectively like our ancestors are just saying it's time to embrace emotion. And it's time to give ourselves permission to embrace humanity. And part of being human is emotion. And it's so scary to feel emotion, or we make it so bad and wrong. And they just keep saying, like, it's not bad and it's not wrong. It's just finding an outlet or even incorporating water or sitting by the ocean or sitting by the water, getting in your tub, and even just being in your bath and just setting, like, okay, I'm going to give myself permission to feel and to embrace all of this all of this pain or all of this heaviness, to give me the space because our soul came here to experience it. And if you think about that, we came here as a spirit, we dropped into these bodies to experience humanity, which is physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And so connecting into water and our emotions is we came here to experience these emotions. We came here to experience the great sadness and the great happiness. And we came here to find ways to keep us feeling alive, feeling connected. And there are going to be times where we feel deeply disconnected from life, as well as deeply connected. And so it's just finding that space of knowing that, like, we're here to experience it and it is absolutely beautiful and it is human. And it doesn't have to define who we ultimately are. Because when we cross back over into the spirit realm, we are this infinite spirit taking on and experiencing these beautiful aspects of being human. And it doesn't have to be bad or wrong, but when we can give ourselves the space to say, my ultimate self, my higher spirit came here to experience this. I'm going to give myself full permission to experience this and embrace that. There will be a shift of energy and a sense of rebirth and a sense of healing that occurs when we allow ourselves to fully embrace that emotional aspect. And that might be like ugly crying. And that's okay to ugly cry. Nothing is wrong with that. And when we feel this choking up in our throat, it's important for us to check in and say, am I blocking myself from feeling something? Am I blocking myself from speaking something? Because those two go hand in hand together. And then when we are feeling an extra surge of emotion, it's okay to give us time to incorporate water into our space. Get in the tub, go on a hike to water, sit outside where you're next to water and just notice the calmness and notice the depth that it brings. Because if you think about an ocean, a lot of people are really excited about the ocean, but it's also like, oh, what is down there? It's kind of scary. Like, what am I going to find down there? Or, there's so many unknown things that it holds this lore. But if you think about our emotions, it's very similar. It's like, oh, I can only feel just this little bit because if not, I'm gonna unravel all the way back down, and I'm gonna be stuck, and I'm gonna lose myself, and everyone around me is gonna think I'm crazy. But when we can give ourselves permission to see that our soul longs for this human journey, it longs to experience emotion, which means if we're not giving ourselves permission to embrace emotion, it's going to keep showing up to us in so many different ways till we finally give ourselves the space to embrace it. It's like that mirror that just keeps showing back up until we finally look into the mirror and see for what it really is. And as I'm connecting into these ancestors, these females that are coming forward, it just feels like they want to help empower you to see the beauty in emotion and to see the beauty in water instead of it being a fearful thing. And I see a lot of this fear taking place of being shut down, of saying you can't have that. You can't have those visions. You can't have that spiritual power, that spiritual connection. Like that's not your role. And I just see them saying like, no, we're in this space of growth and in this space of moving forward, that we can honor both aspects. Those who have that, you could say that role or that power, we all have that power, but it just feels like they're wanting to help remind us that like that is part of who we are and that is infinitely who we are. We just forget while we're here, but they want to help us walk the path. They want to help us to see the beauty of the world and to see the beauty of our wounds and our heartbreak and our heartache. And it's also, we see, in every movie, they have the hero's journey where you see this person in a good space and they always have something heavier or something emotional happen to them that transmutes or changes their whole perspective of life. And it makes them ultimately a bigger and better and more evolved human being. So we all have these aspects of a hero's journey. We will all experience that in our life. But until we can give ourselves permission to feel that and own it, it's going to keep popping up for us. It's going to keep bubbling up to the surface. And I just see them saying they want to hear it. They want to create the space to let us know that it is safe to feel and it is safe to embrace those emotions. And water is such a beautiful element to help us to heal. And if you think about like when you get your tooth pulled, I used to be in the dental realm, but when you get your teeth pulled, they want you to bleed. And in fact, they have you bite here, they have you bite on something, but it's still bleeding because that causes a blood clot. It clots the blood so then you can heal. And if you think about people who go and get facials or they go and get different things, is they're puncturing their skin and drawing up some kind of blood or drawing up something to bring rejuvenation to the body. And if we're bringing back in blood and water as one, as part of who we are, it shows that our blood is necessary and our blood can bring great healing. So can our emotion and so can water. And so I just see them wanting to help remind us of this beautiful space within us. And in order for us to fully navigate and thrive in this journey, it is so important that we remember that yes, we are here having a human experience. And in this human experience, we are always experiencing like our physical body, whether we're eating healthy, whether we're feeling right, how we're treating our body, if we're moving, all those physical things around us, our emotions, our spirituality, and our mental health. And those are things that we're all going to be constantly going through and experiencing. And it's not bad and wrong, it's human. And we are so much more than this moment. And it doesn't have to define who we infinitely are. But when we give ourselves the space to embrace the moment, we can see it helps us grow versus defines us and puts us into a limiting box. And I just see them like clapping and cheering and be like, this is exactly it. Like, we're all here to embrace this and to feel this, and they want to help us honor that. And so I'm really excited to jump into this journey and to just see how they work with each and every one of you individually, to connect into the water and to connect into the healing powers of your ancestors. So let's go ahead and get prepared for that. But before we do that, is there any thoughts or questions, anything anyone wants to relay or talk about? If not, that's totally fine. I always just like to check back in. And I know with the group, it's a little more awkward for people to be like, I have a question. But this is just our beautiful soul tribe. It's everyone's here to learn and to grow. Anything? Okay, perfect. Well, let's just take a moment then to close our eyes. And if you have any water element with you, like I have some water here, I'm going to put that on my forehead or on my wrists just to help me like infuse myself into the water. Or if you have any oils or anything like that, this would be the time to incorporate it onto your body. But without that, we're just going to take some time to journey together today for us to individually meet with our ancestors and the healing power of water. So I want you to just take a moment and notice once again your bubble. And you'll notice that it is clear as that water has cleansed our space, bringing us into the moment of connecting to our ancestors. I want you to take a moment to just offer up a prayer of gratitude, calling upon your ancestors to be here with you, as this is a very personal experience. Calling upon that personally is such a beautiful space. And I want you to notice this spiraling tunnel of white light starting to form in front of you as you say your prayer of gratitude. The spiraling portal of energy gets bigger and bigger, and you begin to feel it pulling you in. And as you step through that energy portal, you'll begin to see any of your worries, your doubts, your fears, any insecurities of being bad and wrong, being released and molded back into that white light. I want you to notice on the walls of this white portal if there's any signs or symbols, any shapes or colors that are showing up beside you. If there's any words showing up there. You'll begin to see the tunnel coming to a close. And at the end of this circle, you notice green grass. And as you bring your awareness to the grass, you begin to wiggle your toes, feeling the soft grass beneath your feet. And you'll begin to feel that portal of energy closing behind you. I want you to take some time to look around. Notice the surroundings that are everywhere. There's beautiful green bushes and trees and grass everywhere you look. I want you to notice the sky. What color is the sky? Are there any birds? Any animals or insects that you can hear around you? Are there any wildflowers that you can see? Is there anything purple or pink or yellow around? You'll begin to notice laughter behind you. And as you turn behind you, you see this beautiful group of people swimming in this hole in the ground. It just looks like a beautiful spring of water, a natural spring. And as you begin to walk to that watering hole, you begin to notice your ancestors. Maybe there's a grandmother or a sister. You begin to notice there are a few different people in the watering hole. And they are laughing and floating on top of the water. And you'll see them beckoning you to join them in the water. Whatever it is that you feel comfortable in, you'll notice that everything around you and on your body changes to whatever you feel most comfortable in, knowing that they don't judge any aspect of who you are. There is zero shame or guilt. They just want you to join them in the water. You may have already jumped in, or maybe just dabbling your toes in. But they invite you to fully immerse yourself in the water. And as you look down, you can see the very bottom of the water. It is clear and beautiful. And you see there's nothing to be afraid of. And if you feel a fear or a sense of worry in the water, know that you have floaties right there by you to help you feel supported and comforted. Your ancestors invite you to spend some time in the water, whether it be diving deep and exploring the caverns, or just soaking on top of the water, floating. Give yourself space to just be curiously open. Begin to feel your ancestors offering support and love in your space as you just embrace this moment in the water. Are there any fishes that are swimming by? For those of you who are floating on the water, you'll begin to notice all of your ancestors standing in a circle around you. And you'll begin to feel this beam of beautiful white light above you, shining and warming your skin, bringing your body to a pulse sensation. this sense of love surround you. And you may feel your ancestors supporting you as you float, feeling the warmth of that light, the great creator upon your skin. Being fully supported by your emotions in the water. For those of you who have taken a deep dive into the water, you'll notice a treasure chest at the bottom of the water. As you swim down and open up that treasure chest, you will see a beautiful gift of life for you to receive. Those of you floating, you will also begin to see a gift showing up to you from above, waiting for you to take it into your hands and place it into your heart. You'll begin to see your ancestors stepping out of the watering hole, offering you a towel or a space to dry off. And you'll notice that you dry off extremely quickly. This is a time, if you feel like any of your ancestors want to share a message with you or embrace you in a deep hug, giving you any guidance or support in this physical journey here and now. You'll begin to feel that portal of energy opening back up behind you. Knowing that you can come to this watering hole as often as you would like to meet with your ancestors, great creator, in the water. Before stepping back into that portal of energy, turn and thank your ancestors for being there. Sending up a prayer of gratitude to their souls, wherever they may be in the cosmos. Turning back into that portal of white light, stepping through, you will see your body sitting in the room. As you walk towards your body, feel free to give yourself a blessing of love, of support, praying over your body, seeing how much this body does for you here and now. Taking time to honor your body. As you merge back into your body, take 3 deep breaths. wiggling your fingers and your toes, opening your eyes when you are ready, bringing yourself to this present moment. No, I just think as we, embark into the weekend and sit with what we experienced, I always invite people, especially during journey work, because we have such this beautiful innate ability to connect to spirit, to our ancestors, to bring in healing in this form of journey work. And they're always going to be different, and the messages they share are always going to be unique. But knowing that we have that ability to co-create, that we all have the space to connect. It's not just one person, or we all have that within us. And so it's just taking time to reflect upon that, maybe journal what you experienced. And this week, I would definitely invite you to take some time to either take an Epsom salt bath with the intention of releasing and letting go, or calling upon your ancestors. Maybe that's even in the shower, having some different essential oils in the corners to bring in this burst of sunshine. As we incorporate water, it's going to help us deepen our connection to ourselves in honoring our emotions in part of this human experience, but also it will help us to connect deeper into our roots, connect deeper into our blood, into the DNA of who we are, which automatically connects us deeper to our ancestors. And as we bridge all of that together, we can feel them stronger, we can be more connected, but it also gives us courage and space for us to move forward even more powerfully in life as well. So I just think it's a beautiful combination. So I wanted to thank all of you so much for joining in tonight. I'm going to try to get this posted. For some reason, it's not hosting live on the group page, but I'll get that figured out. But thank you all so much for being here tonight. And if you have any questions, please reach out. Before we close up the call, is there any other thoughts or questions that anybody has?